Welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. Today, let's talk about haters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. My name is Kale Houser. Thank you for joining me today. I am the, if you did not know, co-founder of Kale Houser Leadership, along with my amazing wife, Liz Houser. Our intent behind this venture is to provide the tools, the procedures, the mindset, the whole package to small business owners that maybe haven't thought too much actively about their role as the leader of their business and the effect it has on the success of their business. If you did not know that, a leader is somebody who is in charge of and who takes control of the culture, the direction, the vision of that venture, whatever that may be. That may be some big startup, that may be something as mundane as a dry cleaning business or an HVAC business. It may be kind of all kinds of things, a nonprofit. But if you consider yourself a small business, or if you consider yourself somewhat new to this game of building cultures and teams, then I would highly encourage you to pay attention to this podcast in general, because throughout it, as you can see, my probably over 150 episodes now. I don't know exactly what it is. The intent is to provide these kind of tactical tips and as well as expose you to some other outside experiences and influences in the form of my guests through all kinds of different realms to make you a better leader and help you create an amazing culture and workplace for your people and ultimately be successful. If that is something you feel that you need direct help with and personal one-on-one help with, absolutely, please visit kalehouser.com. Scroll to the bottom or hit the contact me and book a call. Either Liz or I will jump on a call with you and you can ask whatever question you want and we can have a discussion and see how we can help you be amazing, because that is our goal. I wanted to talk about today in this episode, haters. Haters is kind of the in vogue thing to say, to have, right? Anyone successful wants to talk about their haters. That's kind of the catchword of the 20th century and how 20th century of the 2020s and even probably the 2010s a little bit more. Because they exist. As people get success, there undoubtedly is somebody that's going to be unhappy with that success in some form or fashion, and they want to express that. And that is what we commonly refer to as haters. While I do not per se have people that are actively looking for my failure or trying to tear me down, I did have this one incident that I thought it was more comical in nature because it was so childish, but it absolutely qualifies in the form of a hater. And I will say, my extended family on my mom's side specifically, because that's really the only like cousins and things that I have. I don't have any cousins on my dad's side of the family. I've never really been close with them. There was some family issues when I was much younger that, my mom and her brothers and sisters, my aunts and uncles kind of went their separate ways. So like from, I'm guessing 10, 11, 12-ish on, I didn't have much interaction with my cousins, and there were a lot of them. My mom's siblings had a lot of kids that were my cousins. And through the years, and I went my own route and, went off to college and then eventually the Air Force and getting married and moving around and doing that thing. I never had much interaction with my cousins. And it's kind of funny, with the advent of Facebook, and this is one of the most amazing parts of Facebook for all of its kind of shortcomings and downfalls to society in general is, the opportunity to reconnect with people that you're separated from by distance or circumstance and time and things of that nature. And that is certainly a case, I had opportunities to kind of, friend my cousins that I hadn't seen or seen very little of outside of like momentous occasions like, death of a grandparent or something of that nature. And I, become not friends with these people, but, acquaintances. And we'd kind of, as with a lot of what people use Facebook for, like, oh, this is what's going on in your family. And, oh, you're going on this vacation or, whatever is going on. And it was kind of funny. It is very evident and if you haven't picked up on this, I am conservative in nature, which means I'm conservative in my political views and outlook on life and the intent and purpose of life. And most of my family on that side, that extended family, is not. They are what I would consider very liberal in nature, and they have a different outlook on life. That is totally okay. As a conservative, I am okay that you have a different outlook on life. It doesn't bother me one bit. Of course, I think it would be awesome if you, did some of these other things. And I think it would benefit you if you, thought certain ways and did certain things. But ultimately, hey, it's your life. You can choose how to live it. Totally fine. My cousins, one in particular, did not have that view and felt it was her absolute right and obligation to, absolutely try to annihilate me for my views and all this kind of stuff. But it's kind of funny because it's like, whatever, your opinion of how I live my life doesn't mean much to me because we don't have that much vested in each other's lives, right? It's like the opinion of a stranger for all intents and purpose that like, okay, cool, that's your opinion, sweet, thanks. But that's not necessarily about this. And you can go back into my Facebook and kind of see and track some of that, which is, it actually provides a lot of entertainment value to me. But the hater part, I had sent a friend request to this really distant cousin that honestly, I think I had met maybe once in my life. But it was just one of those like, hey, we're cousins. We share a lot of the same family members and relations. Like, cool. Like, I'll at least friend you on Facebook and see what you're up to and on all those kind of things. And it was so fascinating because his response was instantaneous. And we kind of, like, hey, just doing that little kind of initial Facebook catch up, like, oh, like, I forget where we were living at the time, maybe up in Orlando or something. But in going through this and my other cousin had actually reached out and said, hey, just, so a lot of us don't have much to do with that guy because he's kind of a jerk. He hasn't been a very good family member and obviously, other issues going on and things and, just kind of a heads up. And I'm like, okay, no big deal. Again, like it was very informal and more of a, like, I'm just, kind of befriending on Facebook only. It's not like we were exchanged phone numbers and we're talking and chatting or scheduling Thanksgiving dinner together or anything like that. But it was so funny because he proceeded to, I guess, maybe research me or look through my Facebook history and then just started bringing up all these things that were just so bizarre and essentially attacking me for my views. And this is so insane. And I'm like, at one point he goes and he makes this comment about my two front teeth because, of course, on Facebook there's pictures and I'm smiling in my pictures and my teeth are there. And yes, my two very front chompers are, I guess, larger than the average chompers. And I hadn't thought too much about it probably since, some random girl said something to me about it in first grade and, whatever, like it's no big deal. Because it's something I can't control. It's not like I'm going to go out and, drop $100,000 to get a new smile and readjust my entire teeth and stuff. But he essentially proceeded to make fun of me for these big, ginormous teeth that I had. I'm like, okay. And it was so funny because one, it was completely out of left field. Like, were we talking about dentistry? Was I insulting you in some way? Like, did we get into this name calling thing and that was your comeback, like coming up with some just weird name for each other, like, Slob Bob or something, like whatever, like Bale Kale or, just some weird, it was so kindergarten and grade school level of, I don't know if it was meant to be an insult or just what, but it immediately. And the other funny thing is, and then he unfriended me, but it immediately just brought to mind that there are people, no matter how you are connected to them, whether directly or indirectly or not at all, that will just not like you. And the important thing to remember with this, as you run in, inevitably, no matter what you try to do, even if you try to stay at home, go to work, go to home, never interact with anybody, essentially live outside of society, there are still people that will find a way to hate on you, that will not like what you're doing, not like the way you look, not like the way you dress, smell, anything, and they will make it their job to tell you about it, which is so funny. But in this case, it was humorous because it was so grade school. It wasn't like, your political views are jacked up and what's wrong with our society for these reasons, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? It wasn't like this logical argument of why I'm wrong and he was right. It was, your teeth are huge and ginormous. You should hate yourself for that. Or I can't believe you show your face in society kind of thing. It was so funny. But I got to thinking about that as I was remembering this story and thinking about haters in general, of how we let people like that again, like, I'm not responsible to him for anything and he's not responsible to me for anything. How he lives his life is his choices and he's made his choices and continues to do so. But people in general, we let that get to us. And I could have easily developed this complex of where now I can't smile because I'm ashamed of my teeth because this one random person who I'd met one time in my life, and we share like an eighth of our blood together in our lineage, and I let that get to me, and I let it affect me. But honestly, it was comical. He unfriended me, and that was kind of the end of it. I'm like, okay, that was weird. Like, you're trying to just keep these connections alive, which other people have no intent to do so. But the reaction, once he was challenged just a little bit on the interaction and the basis of our relationship and how my views were different than his, because the funny thing was, it wasn't that we became friends and I researched and then I started attacking him and then he responded in kind to attack me. It was just this weird kind of out of nowhere, which I can only imagine is, some sort of insecurity in the past, that because that's often what a lot of things is when people attack. It's that insecurity that they're dealing with and they're taking it out on you. But the moral of this story and the lesson here is, and it's kind of funny because I had a recent text conversation with a buddy of mine who's dealing with some things at work about people kind of being just not caring and not being at that level that he's at because he's a high performer. And there's that reminder to never let the people, you can sympathize with them and feel, and, quote unquote, feel sorry for them, like feel bad that they're not taking the opportunities that are given to them to improve and be better, like that little bit of effort to be like drastically better. But never, ever, 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 ever let those people bring you down. Whether that's in your business, in your relationships, your personal life, in your community, in your industry, a competitor that you have in your business, whether it be internal to your business, like another department head or another supervisor, or a legitimate, like another company that's your direct competitor in your community. Never let their attacking you or their critiques of you bring you down. Like, you have to get to a point that you understand who you are, you understand what validates you, who validates you, and who you do not allow to have that kind of power over you. And I've talked about this a little bit before in the past with some of my other episodes of, when you get angry and mad at people, you are giving them control over you in the form of control of your emotions and things, and that is controlling you. So the take on this is never give people that control over you with their small thinking, with their, in this case, their kind of kindergarten level insults that were meant to just like annihilate me kind of thing. It was just so funny and comical. I should go back and try to find that if it hasn't been deleted, because it is kind of funny and it made me laugh. And as I'm thinking about it, it's just kind of making me smile and laugh even more. Because the other thing is I was warned by other family members that, yeah, that guy's kind of nobody wants anything to do with him because he's just kind of a jerk and all this stuff. But he also felt it was needed that he had to tell me how successful he was. And I guess he's a radio show host in our local tiny little community kind of thing. It's like being like bragging about some random thing that in the scheme of things isn't that big of a deal, but has nothing to do with it. So haters. Small taste of my interpretation of like how to handle haters. Certainly there is a spectrum of level of hate that people throw at each other and can throw at you. Everything from your teeth, your front teeth are huge kind of level of insults, all the way up to I'm going to sue you, or I'm going to go on to social media or some other form and absolutely bash and slander you kind of thing, right? There are levels to this. This is certainly dealing with the lower levels, but also in the idea and the concept of not letting the people with this kind of level of thinking and small-mindedness control you and dictate your actions and your self-worth. So I wanted to leave you with that little bit of encouragement, my big teeth and all, because we all have something, right? Whether it be a nose, ears, your ears are too skinny, your ears are too flat, too round, your nose is too sharp, too bent, too flat, or I already said flat, but too wide. Too brown, too white, your hair is too curly, all of those types of things. Like, it doesn't matter. Be you, own it, feel comfortable. If you want to get your hair straightened because it makes you feel better, not because Jerry across the hall thinks that your curly hair is ridiculous, right? Does that make sense? So stick to you, be true to you, and if you need help with that, give me a call. I'd love to walk you through that and kind of pump you full of encouragement and positivity as I am able. All right, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic day, week, night, evening, morning. I look forward to talking with you further. Like I said, We just came back from Funnel Hacking Live. It was phenomenal, and we're going to get a little bit more into those takeaways from that on the upcoming episodes. And I look forward to talking to you soon. No matter where you are in the world, have a fantastic afternoon. Bye.